Good morning, fight fans, and welcome to the Tuesday, July 2nd edition of the MMAOB Daily Show. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. Going to be taking you guys through the latest in the world of mixed martial arts. First and foremost, guys, follow me on Twitter at MMAdamMartin. This podcast is available at MMAOSpeaker.com and on our YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'd appreciate that. Also, check me out at ShirdDog.com, BJPen.com, MMAnews.com, and MMARatings.net. First off, again, happy Canada Day to anyone who celebrated yesterday, and happy NHL Free Agency Day and NBA Free Agency Day. Just a crazy day yesterday for sports fans in general. Tons of moves, a lot of trades, a lot of free agent signings. I'm a big Maple Leafs fan. We made a huge trade yesterday, trading Nazem Kadri to the Colorado Avalanche for Tyson Barrie and Alexander Kerfoot. I really like that trade. I'm really excited about that. There's a lot of other moves, though. Like pretty much anyone who's a sports fan probably had something happen for their team yesterday, whether it was in basketball or hockey. So huge day yesterday, and I enjoyed my Canada Day. Again, I did the podcast in the morning, and then I spent some time with family in the afternoon. So it was a good day. I'm here to talk about MMA today, though, of course. So let's get right into it. Not a ton of news today to talk about. Something could break at some point, but there definitely are a couple of fight announcements that I want to bring up, and then also a couple fighters I want to talk about specifically. And we'll start with Darren Till. So Darren Till did a long-ranging interview with Jim Edwards of Fighters Only. So it's a really good interview. You guys can check that out. It's on their YouTube channel. It's like 45 minutes. It's quite a lengthy interview. Jim did a good job there. So Darren really opened up in this interview, pretty much for like the first time since that taxi incident where he was accused of stealing a taxi. He talks about that in the interview. He says that it wasn't him. It was his buddies that did it, and then the police knew who he was. That's why he was fingered for it. Who knows what the real story is, but it was kind of interesting. He was talking about that. But the stuff that I want to focus on from that interview is the fight-related stuff. So first and foremost, he wants a rematch with Jorge Masvidal. This doesn't make sense, really. I can't blame him for asking for a rematch. He was just starched by Masvidal a couple months ago. For him, it must have been embarrassing. He was in front of all his fans and stuff, and he was a big favorite to win that fight. But Masvidal's a beast. He's going to be fighting Ben Askren. If he wins that fight, he's probably going to get a title shot next. So to me, it really wasn't the right call, but I can't blame the guy for asking for it. He said that Masvidal was extremely respectful to him after the fight and stuff. And he said that he really likes the guy, but he just wants to fight him again, get that loss back. To me, just like I said, it doesn't make sense. Masvidal's above him now. Darren Till needs to get a win. If I'm the UFC right now, I'm matching up Darren Till with someone that he can beat and beat impressively because as much as I have criticized this guy in the past, just because I think the UFC pushed him a little bit too soon, and I think undeservingly compared to a lot of the other guys in that division. He still is a big draw. I know that for a fact. So he needs to get back on the winning track. Right now, he's coming off back-to-back stoppage losses to Jorge Masvidal and Tyron Woodley. So he's got to get going again. The last win he had was Stephen Thompson in May 2018. That was very controversial. If you take away that loss, which, again, most people thought he lost that fight, his last win would have been in October 2017 against Donald Cerrone. So, in my mind, it's been a while since Darren Till's got his hand raised. He did beat Thompson, according to the judges. But I think, again, most of us that saw that fight thought that was probably one of the worst robberies of 2018. And I think MMA Decisions had that listed as the worst robbery according to the media and the fans. So I'm not the only one saying that, of course. I still think Darren Till's got some potential, though. He does have KO power. Like, again, he is a draw, but I think he should be focused on calling out other guys that can help work his way back up. Like, I think, I'm not sure if the fight would happen, but I think Damian Maia would have been a better call in many ways because at least that's a guy that's not as highly ranked as a guy like Masvidal. Damian's ranked at like 12th right now or something. I talked about Damian yesterday in my matchmaking piece over at MMA News. I said that Vicente Luque would be a good fight. I do think that's a good fight, but if Till called Maia out, someone like that, someone, a veteran, someone who's ranked at the bottom of the top 15, but someone that has a name. So that's the kind of fight I would be calling out if I was him. But again, I can't blame him for wanting to have that rematch with Masvidal. Although, like I said, I don't think that happens anytime soon. Also, Darren Till did talk about the prospect of moving up to 185. He said that it's a possibility, and for many of us, we've been saying this for a long time. The guy cuts way too much weight to make 170. It's amazing how he makes it. We all remember that video where he looked like he was about to die making 170. Just a terrible weight cut he had, and he's still fighting at 170. He did make weight safely in his last fight, but again, he got knocked out. And a lot of people think that there's a correlation between cutting a lot of weight and getting KO'd. So, and I do believe that there is something to that. So, to me, 185 makes a lot of sense. And if he goes to 185, that division right now is pretty wide open. You know, there's a lot of guys that moved up to 205, like Chris Weidman, like Luke Rockhold. So I'm just looking at the middleweight division right now. There's a lot of guys he could fight. Like, he could easily call a guy like David Branch or Uriah Hall. Those guys have fights booked, but just someone like that. Brad Tavares, he's ranked number 12. I think Darren Till probably does beat Brad Tavares. That would be a good fight and would put him right in the top 15. You could even just say, hey, you know what? Let's just go shoot for the top and call it a guy like, Jared Cannonier, who just beat Anderson Silva. He could even call it Anderson Silva. To me, there's a lot more, fun matchups and fights that make more sense for Darren Till at 185. But he wants to stay at 170 right now, anyways. And again, Masvidal is ranked number 4 right now. Till is ranked number 6. I get that, but to me, he should be ranked a bit lower than that, coming off the back-to-back losses. Again, guy like Maya is number 12, but like I said, if you look at 185, it's so open right now. At 170, Darren Till's so far behind these guys. Like, he's way behind. Okay, obviously Usman's the champ, but he's way behind Covington. He's way behind Masvidal. Way behind Askren. Technically in the rankings, only one or two spots behind, but I think we all know that it's going to be a while before Till gets another title shot based off the 2 losses, especially the loss to Woodley. Like, he got dominated in that fight, and then the Masvidal fight was a great fight, but he got knocked out. So he's got a lot of work to do. But yes, it was a good interview with him, and it showed that to me that he's maturing a little bit as a fighter, which is a good thing, and as a person. So I'd like to see that. But I think that 185, based on everything I'm seeing right now, that makes more sense for Darren Till. It's a fresh start. And you know what? Look at a guy like there's lots of guys that moved up in weight, but look at Cerrone, who he didn't knock him out, but look at that run he had at 170 for a while. It looked like a good move for him. Eventually, he did move back to 155, but there was a lot of guys at that point moving up to 170, and I like Masvidal even too. I mean, Masvidal's a perfect example. He was a guy who struggled to make weight at 155, moves up to 170. He's looked like a monster at 170. So to me, Darren Till could easily move up a weight class, but we'll see what happens there. All right, what else? Johnny Walker. Oh, wow. Okay, so you guys know I love Johnny Walker. Having dinner with him a couple months ago in Brazil at UFC 237, that was awesome. The guy's a great guy, and he's got good management too. His manager, Lucas, he runs Future FC. I believe that's what it's called. It's a promotion in Brazil, and they're sending a lot of fighters to the Dana White's Contender Series right now. And they're signing guys all the time and sending them to the UFC. So he's doing a great job. He's under the right management. I love the fact he went on Francis Ngannou's Twitter or Instagram, and he said, "Hey, Francis is like, who's next? No one wants to fight me," and he's like, "I want to fight you." So I love it. This guy, he's confident in himself, and he's trying to take on more challenges. He's currently recovering from his shoulder surgery, but I think he's going to be ready to fight soon. He might be training right now. Hopefully, we'll be fighting later this year against the top 10 light heavyweight. He deserves that. Johnny Walker does, but you know what? Let's be honest here. He's not going to be moved up to heavyweight to fight Francis Ngannou anytime soon. But I love the fact he's out there calling him out. Unlike John Jones, who hasn't said anything about it, even though Francis called him out. So we'll see what happens there. I still think John Jones versus Francis Ngannou is a great fight and maybe the fight to make right now. But I like the fact that Johnny Walker is taking the bull by its horns and saying, "Hey, you know what? This guy is a big star right now, and I want to fight you." It's not going to happen, but I like the fact that he called him out. It shows me that this guy he wants to fight, man. And I love that about Johnny Walker. He's an awesome guy and a great fighter. Couple fight announcements, and I'll get out of here, guys. Short show today. Just not a lot news. Okay, so UFC 239, we have a new matchup. That's this weekend. By the way, I'll be coming out with my opening odds reactions today. I'll send that out today. So I got to take a look at the odds, but I think I know for the most part who I'm going to be leaning towards. But anyways, check that out later today on MMAOddsbreaker.com. But for now, I want to talk about this matchup, which doesn't have odds yet for it, but they will come out, I'm assuming, today or tomorrow. Marlon Vera, now that Sean O'Malley's been officially pulled from the card, Marlon Vera finally gets an opponent. I'm glad he got an opponent because it was looking like he might be pulled from the card for a little while. He had no idea. He was even saying that the UFC hadn't even talked to him about the O'Malley thing, even though the whole internet knew about it. So we'll see what happens there. But yes, Marlon Vera right now, 26 years old. Man, this guy's a beast. 3 straight wins by stoppage. He looks awesome. 13-5-1 record. Guys look like a killer lately. And he's going to be taking on UFC newcomer Nohelin Hernandez, 25 years old, an American Kickboxing Academy product. 135. We're coming off 3 straight wins in Bellator, Tattoo Palace fights, and LFA. So this guy's got some good experience here. He actually has a knockout win over Martin Day a couple of years ago. So Martin Day's in the UFC as well. Guy only started fighting in 2016, but looks like a really good fighter right now. Has some decent experience, like I mentioned. Of course, I'm going to favor Marlon Vera in this fight. The guy's looked amazing lately. Really impressed by Marlon Vera's improvements. Well, this guy definitely does look like a UFC caliber fighter from what I'm seeing. So we'll see what happens in this debut. Probably loses, then we'll get another fight. It's kind of like the Jeremy Newsom guy the other day. Puts up a good fight, loses. It is what it is. But we'll see what happens there. But yes, I'm glad that the UFC was able to get Marlon Vera an opponent, because it would have sucked if this guy had went through a whole training camp, and we all know what kind of issues he's having with his daughter and stuff. So I'm just glad that he's able to make a paycheck, because he definitely needs that. One other fight announcement, and I'll get out of here, guys. UFC China, so that's the card, August 31st. And by the way, oh man, this card apparently starts at 3 in the morning for us North Americans. I get it; it's for the Chinese fans, but someone who's going to have to cover the card doing the play-by-play. Oh, I'm not looking forward to getting up at like 2:45 to do this card. So it is what it is. Got to do my job, but man, that's going to be a tough one. That's the card headlined by Weili Zhang versus Jessica Andrade. I am looking forward to that fight, by the way. And the more I think about that fight, the more I think that Zhang will put up a good fight. And a lot of people have said to me, "Hey, you're writing her off." And you know what? To be fair, I picked her against Torres, but yes, I am. I still think she's going to lose this fight, but maybe I'm going to start listening to people a little bit more, and that maybe she has more of a chance than what I'm giving her. I still think Andrade will win, but maybe it's going to be a better fight and not as lopsided as I initially believed. But anyways, the other fight announced for this card, we have Saparbek Safarov taking on Darren Jung. It's a light heavyweight bout. Interesting fight here. Saparbek Safarov, 9-2 record. Darren Jung, 10-2 record. So similar experience. Safarov 32, Jung 31. Safarov 1-2 in the UFC. He was finished by John Vellante, Tyson Pedro, and then had a pretty good performance in his last fight against Nikolai Negumereanu. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't a great fight by any means, but he did what he needed to do to win. So that was the impressive part. He actually used his wrestling and fought smart. First time he went to a decision in his career. Now taking on Darren Jung, Korean top team native. He's a 6'3" guy, so he's a big dude. He's a light heavyweight, like I mentioned. He's actually on a 9-fight win streak right now. All his wins by stoppage. Guy looks like a beast, man. And Savarak's been knocked out. Well, he's been knocked out once technically, but he's been hurt in a lot of his fights. And this guy has a lot of KO power. The fight will be close to home. Interesting fight for sure. I counted Safarov out in that last one. I was fading him, and maybe it would be a mistake to fade him again here. But this guy, Jung, definitely looks impressive from what I'm seeing. So we'll take a look at that fight later on. And by the way, it's funny. This guy actually fought someone named Hulk. What a great name, Hulk. Anyways, yeah, we'll take a look at that card later in August. But for now, I just wanted to mention that fight was booked. And I think that's all for the fight announcements. I'm just going to check quickly. But yes, I believe that's all. Yeah, that's it. So UFC's been announcing a lot of cards lately, and most of the cards up till September are booked anyways. So don't think you'll see a ton of fight announcements for summer cards, but we had a ton of them earlier in May and June. There was every week they were coming out with them. There is, I believe, no Dana White Contender Series tonight because UFC 239 is this weekend, and the UFC wanted to keep the focus on that, which is fair. So I believe they'll be back next week. Just double checking that. Yes, July 9th. So that's the next one. And that card has 5 fights on it. I'm looking forward to that one. But yes, no Dana White's Contender Series tonight. So if you guys were looking for that, it'll be on next week. But there is UFC 239 this weekend, and I cannot wait for this card, guys. It's going to be a good one. I'll be doing the live play-by-play for Sure Dog. I'll plug that later on in the week. For now, guys, check this podcast out. But tomorrow, myself and Cole Sheldon will be doing the UFC 239 full preview. I'll also be doing just a regular podcast talking about the other news in MMA. So check that out tomorrow morning. Until then, guys, follow me on Twitter at MMAOB. Follow the podcast at MMAOddsbreaker.com and on our YouTube channel at MMAOddsbreaker, youtube.com/MMAOddsbreaker. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Appreciate that, guys. Check me out at SureDog.com, BJPenn.com, MMAnews.com, and MMARings.net. I have articles written in all those places, so check them all out. Again, guys, thank you for tuning in today. I'll see you guys tomorrow to talk about the latest news in the world of mixed martial arts. Have a great day, guys.